Heyo everybody, Haku here with my double review for Tower of God chapters 425 and 426, or Season 3, episodes 8 and 9. So last week I ended up too busy to ever get a chance to record this. I did take my notes for 425 after reading last week in case I did get a chance to record it. But they ended up being super long, like a full page, and I've got a full page for 426. Even though I did take the notes last week, I reread 425 yesterday to kind of refresh myself so that I would, hopefully have it together a bit more. It's just, forgive me if I, slip up a little bit during the review of this first one, because it's so much happens every single week with Tower of God that it's kind of difficult to remember, what happened in which chapter, and some other series get that way too. But so much happens in Tower of God every single week that it's to the point that even though it's a chapter, or it's a series that I legitimately take notes on and make 2 videos on each week, at the same time, so much happens it is difficult to keep track of everything. So, forgive me if I slip up a little bit, and keeping track of that after also reading multiple times and taking notes on 426. So forgive me if I slip up a little bit talking about the first one. So as usual, the system I'm going to go with is talking about the chapter part by part and my thoughts on it, then talking about the blog if anything there was important enough to talk about, then giving some general thoughts and a score at the end, and then I'll go on to 426 and so on and so forth. You get it. Let's start talking about Season 3, Episode 8, or 425. So we get a flashback to a few months earlier at the beginning, and we have Yu Han-sung greeting Bomb, saying, you always come back injured. And I love how they have essentially turned Madarako's castle into their home base that they go out on their missions from. Yu Han-sung then takes care of Bomb. I like this moment between them. This entire scene actually is really good at giving more context to what Bomb's going through as a character and as training, and it develops Yu Han-sung even more as well. But we have the knowledge that Madarako has found Dang Dang's location, and Kanzone is hiding Dang Dang. And I love this plot point being introduced, that Kanzone is not trustworthy, because it does 2 things. It makes the arc more exciting that Kanzone isn't trustworthy to Yama, but it also explains a lot of the things where in the past I was like, wow, Yama's people must have been really stupid, because they're out looking for Dang Dang when Dang Dang is literally in their own land. But now it makes sense why they're not stupid. Kanzone's just lying to them. We also get an explanation in 426 that the normal citizens don't know what Dang Dang looks like, so that explains it further too. But either way, even though seeing his ears they should be like, he's a canine lord, he's kind of maybe more important than the normal people, because they seem to have got this, a caste system of stratified races almost, but we'll get into that more in 426. I like the subject of internal conflict. I think it definitely makes the story more exciting. Bomb, we see, is training that sort of liquid Shinsu congealing technique that he's been using. Yu Han-sung notes that perfecting that could make him unstoppable. So we know that's kind of a base Shinsu technique. It's not like a special thing that's unique to him. It's something anybody can learn, but he's learning it at a super high level. Then Yu Han-sung warns Bomb about Yama. He's like, Yama tried to take your thorn, so you can't really trust him that much. Even if you give him Dang Dang, we're not sure if he could betray us anyway. So he basically says to Bomb, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, but he basically says to Bomb, you need to make the judgment call of whether or not you can trust him. Because if you can't trust him, then there's no point in going through all this hassle to get Dang Dang for him to try to get his help. So again, I like that. Yu Han-sung being like, it's not black and white. Even if we do something for him, he's not guaranteed to help us. So you need to try to make your own decisions if you can trust him or not. He brings up that Jinsung wanted Bomb to be more than just a slayer, so he needs to not lose his sense of self. And Bomb flashes back to remembering that's basically the same thing that Mazano told him. So all of that was great. It made Yuan Sung more sympathetic, where he's like, the least I could do is take care of you. It's kind of my fault you're here to begin with. Because he didn't murder him like Zahard wanted him to back at the second floor. So I like that. It develops Yuan Sung, makes him more sympathetic, but also brings up how he's telling Bam the same thing Mazano told him, the same thing Jin Sung wanted for him, that Bam needs to make his own decisions. And it's kind of the same struggle he went through in the Name Hunt Station, where we had this really great character moment where Bam's talking to Kun like, I went through all this in the Hell Train to gather allies that I could throw away, but at the end of the day I feel like I can't throw them away. And Kun's advice to him was then, don't throw them away. Don't listen to what Waryun and FUG is telling you. Just do your own thing. You're you because you're not going to throw people away or step on them to climb up the tower. So yeah, all that was good. We see Kanzone's goofy ass training. He looks ridiculous. Tower God is a series with a lot of cool character designs, and Kanzone ain't one of them. He looks so goofy. Like, his body proportions seem weird. He's just training in his underwear when, I don't think that's Gyegung who shows up, because Gyegung seemed to have not known all of this. But this guy was reporting, hey, Kanzone, looks like Dang Dang escaped. But yeah, either way, he gets word of Dang Dang's escape, and he basically wants to get rid of Dang Dang, and we learn a bit more why. It's kind of seemingly just jealousy of him wanting to get ahead of Gato. And if Gato's son becomes a star, that's only going to make Gato kind of better or seem better. It's going to make his standing better because he is bringing up the future of the gang. But yeah, either way. From there, Bam has a conversation with Kun that's good, where he's explaining that he wants to help Dang Dang, partially because looking at Dang Dang's situation, Dang Dang reminds Bam of himself when he first joined FUG. So he's not going to cost him his freedom. He's not going to be the reason that Dang Dang and Louie aren't free. I love Ship so much, though, where he busts in, he's like, hey guys, let me try to solve your issues a little bit or discuss this with you. Kun's like, stop eavesdropping. He's like, I'm a scout. I'm always eavesdropping. I love it. It was all good. And I love the way he's like, making the argument to go along with Bam and everything, and Kun's like, I am the only sane one here, and all of the interactions between all of them were great. Kun's personality was great there, and all of Bam thinking to himself about how he's going to need to be firmer, and how he's going to need to make himself someone that Yama has respect for. I love all of that because Bam has a personality now, and it's amazing. Ship and Kun played really great roles too. Rack chiming in just to not be on Kun's side. Karaka shows up to congratulate Bam. Bam brings up that he's still reluctant about working with Karaka, which again just adds more complexity into the situation, which is great. Where he's like, Karaka did so much to harm my friends that I'm just not sure about working with him. So all of that was great. Ship being the voice of cheering them up and lifting their spirits was really, really good. Let's see, what else did we have? Bam, again, we have the moment now where he's thinking to himself about how he needs to earn Yama's respect. We learn a little bit about the Canine Tooth Festival. Not really well explained in Chapter 425. A little bit more elucidated in 426, but still a bit confusing. So it's one of those things where we're going to have to go into the Canine Tooth Festival not knowing how well it's explained, not knowing how well some of the stuff's translated, and just being like, we'll just watch the game go down. What it seems like, though, to me, is that somebody, the star, is going to grab the thorn, or not really the thorn, I guess. I don't know what I'm calling this. They're going to grab the fang, and whoever has the fang and gives it back to Yama at the end is kind of the winner. They talk about all this defense and offense, but it seems like it's going to be more of whoever has the fang is on defense, but everybody else is going to be on offense trying to take it until they can grab it and bring it back to Yama. So that seems to be what the actuality of the situation is. From there, Yeah, we just have this. It's a celebration of Yama beating a monster and saving his people. The monster's still sleeping down there, so I really hope we get to see the monster at some point. It just comes back, starts wreaking havoc, and they all have to work together to stop it or something. That's a bit cheesy and cliche, but I think it would be enjoying to see. I wouldn't mind it at all. Because I would want to get to see a really cool monster fight. I mean, who wouldn't? So the leaders fight over the Fang. Chosen Star has to retrieve it. I have all that in my notes. Yeah, and they talk about defense or offense and all that. But it seems like whoever has the Fang just needs to defend the Fang, and everybody else has to grab the Fang, and whoever has the Fang wins. So they could have just explained it better by saying, whoever has the Fang wins. Everybody wants the Fang. Which I think is kind of a better way anyway. Either way, who cares? It ends when the Fang is defended till midnight, but in general it seems like the easy way to explain it is it starts at midnight, it ends at midnight, so it's a day long. So yeah, and the reason that they need Dang Dang is none of the Rugrats really were all that good in the Canine Tooth Festival lately, so they need somebody to come in, impress everybody, and for them to be like, the future of the gang is sort of good. They need to calm down the people, to give them hope, and to bring them together over some new star who's going to be the future of the gang. And they want Dang Dang to do that. So he has to be really powerful and cool, right? I mean, if he shows up and we get to see Dang Dang fight, and he's just being outclassed at every turn by, Bomb's team, then it's going to be like, well, are they really going to be that impressed with him? Even if he is impressive compared to past Rugrats, are they going to be like, well, damn, why would we care about the future of this gang when Bomb's team is completely outclassing him? So Dang Dang has to be powerful, I would assume. But yeah, either way. So that's why Yama needs Dang Dang, to use him as a symbol to calm down the people under him, give them hope, bring them together, like I said. So Bomb then calls to check in with Evankel, who has a message from Yuan Sung about him being crazy. Evankel mentions finding a new ally, so that'll be cool whenever we get more into that. And Evankel also mentions that there's something weird going on in Zahard's forces. Again, I think maybe after this arc, as sort of an epilogue type thing, we'll cut over to that and see what's going on. That could make sense. From there, we get to see Gato, and Gato seems like he might actually care about Dang Dang and what he wants and his freedom and all that. Gato seems like he might be a good guy, and he might be okay with Dang Dang just escaping and being free. But that just adds another good layer. That's why I really like this chapter and was sad I didn't get to talk about it last week, because we get these layers added into the story of Kanzon not being trustworthy, but also maybe Gato not being trustworthy to Yama, because Gato might want Dang Dang's freedom and escape too. He might actually care about his son's well-being. Wow, surprise in fictional media. We get to meet number 8 Jordan and number 6 Colden from the gang. No, I don't really care about them at this point. Jordan's design I think was pretty cool. Colden we didn't really get to see much, but I've learned not really to care even when CU gives them a character box, because we got character boxes for a bunch of people in the last station that just got demolished. So why should I care? They might be jobbers for all we know. We get the knowledge then that an Elder's Envoy is going to be there too. Death Lady looks so... I even tweeted about it after taking my notes. Death Lady looks so fucking cool. Death Lady's design, the suit and everything, Death Lady looks great. So, yeah, one of the cooler designs, I think, right now. Every panel she was in for this chapter and for 426, I'm just like, damn, Death Lady looks awesome. Karaka then, we find out, he tells Yama that he left Dang Dang on the ship until after they negotiate. Bomb talks some mad shit, and we get all that. And then, bam, at the end, epilogue, random ass, and it's like, whoa, cheeks, out of nowhere. And then we see Apple, Michael, and Akryung are there. So we were right, all the people who were saying that the kurururu sound effect or whatever they were using was the same in Korean as they used for Akryung when we saw the guy from behind. Turns out that was right, and that was an intentional clue that it is Akryung. So yeah, they also have another person with them who some people are saying might be Rachel, but I don't know. I don't think it is. I think Rachel is, or at least should be, still with Gustang. So I kind of hope it isn't Rachel and it's somebody else, but it's got to be somebody we know, like from the past, you would think. What else was I thinking about that? Again, it can't be Traveler. Traveler should still be with Anak and Andrasi. Kind of sad that we're not seeing Anak and Andrasi here. Maybe they're still with Ship's group. Maybe they're still there. Maybe we'll see them this arc. But it's kind of sad we haven't really seen Anak and Andrasi in this current arc. There was something else I was thinking. Again, it shouldn't be Yura, should it? Was Yura with them? Did they save Yura? No, Yura's with Rachel. So yeah, it shouldn't be Yura either. So, but I think it is going to be somebody we know. It looks too tall to be Daniel. No clue. But the blog post CU mentions that Yama is 2.7 meters tall, which is nearly 9 feet tall, so he's friggin' huge. He also brings up that Bomb hates FUG. I kind of don't want it to go that direction of Bomb just hating FUG, though. I want it to go the direction of Bomb sort of making FUG good. Making it what he thinks it should be, a force for good. Sorry. One of my lights blew out. I was like, what the hell? But what else do we have here? So he mentions that Yurik is special because Yurik met so many people. He had so many experiences, but he still wants to leave. He still has the same goal now that he did when he first entered the tower. He just wants to leave the tower. He's one of the very few people to have climbed the tower, reached the everything is here at the top that is promised to everyone, become a ranker, and after climbing he still has the same goal. He brings up also that Yama is like a wild animal, and that's basically all the important stuff from the blog. So for the chapter as a whole, I loved how the chapter introduced interesting subplots like Kanzone hiding things from Yama that explained things really well from the past, or Gato maybe knowing more about the situation than he lets on, or thinking more than we think he might think. And yeah, the Canine Tooth Festival explanation I put in my notes was confusing as hell, but I think 426 explained it a little bit more by just letting us see things play out with different characters rather than giving us an explanation, because the explanation itself didn't make much sense. And again, I don't know how much of that's on CU, how much of that's on translators. I don't know which way the blame goes, but it was pretty confusing. But as a score, I'd give it 8 sleeping monsters out of 10. It was really cool, introduced cool new subplots and stuff, but wasn't really that great. And then 426, I think, cranked it up and made it even better. 426 was great. Alright, so let's get through 426 from the beginning. So from the beginning, the Elder's Envoy there wants to... We start off, flashback to the cheeks. The Elder's Envoy wants to speak with Yama. Apple and Michael learned that Bomb and Karaka are there already. And Yama respects Bomb standing up to him. Like I was saying in the live reaction last week, I thought so. Thought like the standing up to him would be the correct choice, and it was. Because Yama's like, good, I hate people who just kneel and cower before me. You're okay then, I'll accept your deal. But Bomb wants to make a bet for Ding Dang's freedom on the Canine Tooth Festival. Basically, if they win the Canine Tooth Festival, Ding Dang's free, and if Yama wins, then, he's gonna turn on Bomb and just try to take his thorn and everything and not help him with what he needs help with if Yama wins and Bomb loses. But either way, so, Ding Dang currently is with Rack and Kun. He faked the video feed and everything, and Bomb's team is going to be defending the Fang once Ding Dang steals it, which would start off the festival at midnight. So I also thought it was a really, really good idea to throw in, really smart on the part of Bomb or Kun or whoever thought of it, to say that the rest of you can form teams as you usually do. That makes it a lot better, because when he says the rest of you can form teams as you usually do, it turns it from a situation of us versus everyone to a situation of, hey, we're going to be in it, but any of you could also win and like sort of make your standing greater. So it kind of gives incentive to people like Kanzone to be like, okay, it's not everyone against Bomb's team, I'm still going to try to win, which makes it easier on Bomb's team because all the teams against Bomb are also going to be fighting against each other. So they can use that to their advantage. So I thought that was really smart to throw in, and just good writing to throw in the character saying that. Just little details like that can really improve a story. But Yama accepts and will turn on Bomb if he loses, pretty much. Not going to help him and also going to take his thorn. Karaka then yells at Bomb, and Bomb brings up some smart stuff, like what Yuan Sung said to him, that they couldn't trust Yama before. Let's say they gave him Dang Dang, and he's like, oh cool, now I have Dang Dang, I'm not going to help you. What are they going to do about it at that point? They couldn't trust him before, but now, if they win in this bet, like, they have his word in this bet. So if they win, I mean, he could still betray them, he could, but it makes it more likely that he'll keep his word here than it did before. But Karaka's like, screw this, I'm going to do my own thing. I'll have my own team, get the Fang on my own. Screw you, taking my Death Lady going home. So he stomps off. We have Ship getting info, and I thought this was really good, how Ship was just having a normal conversation with Gyegung about the festival in the business area, but he was using that to gain information about the place, gain information about the CTF, the Canine Tooth Festival. I had shortened that to that in my notes. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And Gyegung brings up that there are 3 different peoples, 3 different races that live within the cage. The pure blood outside humans, the canine lords who are descended from Yama's people, and the mutts who apparently came from elsewhere, but that's the dog people. So maybe the mutts come there as humans and get turned into the dog people though, because we had that combat dog stuff before. But either way, we'll figure out what happens as it happens. I find it weird that they dropped the whole Bay Road stuff and blood fusion stuff that had been mentioned so much before and decided, let's go with furry and dog people instead. I find it interesting. This is good too, just not at all what was set up before. It's as if CU just was like, I changed my mind, screw it, we're doing something different. But either way, it's still good. From there, sorry, I have a ton of notes, so it's hard trying to keep my place in all of it. From there, he mentions that all of the leaders are canine lords except one, so I think we'll probably get more backstory into that eventually. And they say that they fight every 10 years, that's the Canine Tooth Festival, to determine their leadership. So it would make sense then that Yama's typically unchallenged, and the fighting typically goes on between Kanzone and Gato, but Gato always wins. The Canine Tooth Festival, they say, is very special to the people there, which again makes sense why Yama needs a person to stand up and be a symbol of the future of the place, because they're kind of their own little secluded nation there on the cage. From there, from there, Ship figures out that Dang Dang is a secret child. The ordinary citizens don't know what he looks like, so that explains a lot that we saw already in the arc, but it also can work to their advantage with what they're doing. And then Chang and Quattro see them from the distance, and Siu did a perfect job of capturing on Chang's face the expression when you're out in public and you see a person you know in the distance and you don't really want to talk to them. Captured that perfectly. But again, I had brought up that they'd probably be in this arc, because the last we saw them, Chang took the White Heavenly Mirror with Angel and Elliot within it, and of course Elliot was probably always going to be in this arc because he's one of the Mad Dogs as well. So if that's the case, we're probably going to see Elliot. We're going to see Varagarv again because he was just getting a power-up last time we saw him. And we're probably going to see the third Mad Dog. I don't know if the third Mad Dog is actually Chang. That would be kind of something that a lot of people have been calling for a long time. So that could totally be possible. Or we could just have a new character show up. But I feel like we'll see all 3 Mad Dogs in this arc, probably. Because you would think they would come back together for the Canine Tooth Festival. And maybe that's the whole reason that that Chang took Elliot and Angel, is because he needed a connection to get into the cage so that he could try to compete himself. That could be the case, if he isn't a Mad Dog, or even if he is. So, yeah, that all makes sense that they're involved. And I think more characters will end up showing up too. Sorry, characters and Will back to back just kept throwing me off there. But I would say that Kaiser will probably be there. Kaiser and Hockney, and probably the other two, Discount Bodice, Kel was his name, and Snack Boy, his name was Yule. I think that team, because they're like, we have to leave Bomb for right now, but we'll be back. So I feel like those four will probably show up again, especially since Jalulu and Dutong are back already. But next, Kun asks Dang Dang if he's really okay with all of this. This means betraying his family, betraying Yama, and Dang Dang explains that he doesn't really care about betraying Yama or his father if it is for his and Louis' freedom. We get to see Dutong and Jalulu then reporting to Kanhong, Kanzon's daughter, and she wants to win on her own, which I think is interesting. Kanzon has his own plans. He wants to be powerful. He wants the child of his opponent not to win or be a star. But it seems like he's doing it for himself, not for his daughter. It's not like, oh, I'm doing this all for you, Kanhong. It seems like he just wants to elevate his own position. But now we have another character, his daughter, who kind of is going to have her own conflict with him in wanting to win herself and kind of get her own spot in the spotlight. So again, I like adding in more details like that. So we have the Elder's Envoy then saying that they disagree with Yama making deals like this. They say that Jinsung brought all this upon himself. And the Envoy's team wants to enter the Canine Tooth Festival, and they want something from Yama. Yama does not look happy about that, so I'm excited to see more of what it might be. And from there, we see Bomb doing that thing again that we saw him doing in the cell, we saw him do during his training, where he was meditating and forming, congealing that watery Shinsu. He's attacked, and I think it's really cool whenever we get to see him do it. His conversation, the stars behind him, all of it looked really great. But he's attacked by Akryung, and I love that Bomb is not an idiot. He recognizes him immediately. He remembers, okay, this is how strong he was. He was a spear bearer before. Did he change his position? He mentions it's the strongest C-rank Shinsu that he's seen so far. I love that Bomb, instead of being like, what? Who are you? And not remembering him or anything like that, Bomb immediately realizes who he is, thinks back to exactly what he could do. I love that Bomb wasn't presented as an idiot here, because I feel like in so many works of fiction, I would have pictured the main character being like, what? Who are you? So I love that he immediately sort of analyzes the situation. I thought that was great. Dang Dang's group then, we see they get to the, or I even put Thorn in my notes, they get to the Fang, and then they're confronted by Apple, Michael, and a third person who might be Rachel, but I kind of hope it's somebody else. Either way, I talked about it a little bit earlier in the video. Seems too short to be Daniel, but it's probably somebody we know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for Rachel to have gone back to them if she had the opportunity to work with Gusting. It doesn't make sense for her to go back to them. She could have moved on to bigger allies to carry her up the tower. So it would seem kind of foolish for her to just drop back down to work with them. But either way, in the blog, Siyu mentions that he had planned to bring Akryung back for a while now, but now just finally seemed like the right time to do so. He also mentions that Yama's group is basically like a single country, kind of like a single race, even though it's kind of three races. They only care about the Canine Lords more than the other two. But because it's a single race, any single race in the tower, like we've seen Da'an, we've seen whatever Jaja's race is, the talent pool for a single race is relatively small, so it's incredible for the Canine Lords to have this many rankers all from one group. So yeah, that's what makes this group special, is they have a lot of rankers all coming from this one specific race. So of course they want to try to raise up more that could climb up the tower and become rankers. So yeah, some thoughts in general now. I love how this chapter established that there are a lot of different characters competing in the festival for a lot of different reasons with their own goals that'll clash with Bomb's goal. I love that, and I think that is even an aspect in which this is even better than the workshop battle. Because in the workshop battle, or in a lot of things in fiction, it's like, oh, they're fighting to survive, or oh, they're fighting to get money. And a good example is Magical Girl Racing Project Restart, where, I mean, winning is all about surviving and getting money, but also we dive into why each character wants to survive, what they want to do if they survive, what they would do if they got that money. So it makes it so they all have their own personal reasons. It's not just, oh, anybody wants to win, oh, anybody wants to have money, or oh, anybody wants to survive. And I think that this does a good job of establishing that. I mean, not that good a job, but it's better than just being like, oh, everybody wants to win the Canine Tooth Festival. It establishes that Kanhong, Kanzon, Dang Dang and Bomb's group, the Elders, Yama's group, Gato, etc., they all have these different groups that want to win the Canine Tooth Festival, all for their own reasons, and I think that's really, really great. The way that that's been done. And in general, I think it did a really good job at building the arc up with having some cool moments like Bomb clashing with Akryung, or with Quaitro and Chang showing back up. It did a good job building up the arc, but it also had cool moments thrown in. It makes the Canine Tooth Festival feel important because so many people have a reason to want to win, so it makes us want to care about the game itself as part of the plot. So that's great. Again, it's not like in the workshop battle, the game itself was kind of subplot to the main plot of the Thorn going on. But this makes the Canine Tooth Festival feel really, really important to the main plot. So because of all that, I'd give it 9 conflicting objectives out of 10. I thought it was great. I loved every bit of it. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for 425, 426, 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed both of them. Thought both did a great job. I'm loving this arc. I think Season 3 has been great so far. Bomb's character has been really, really good. So yeah, that's it. Gonna end it here. Like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this chapter and last week's chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on them. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated and stuff for the channel, or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, then just ask and I can give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.